Good afternoon po, sir.
Good afternoon, everybody. At first, I would like to thank you very much for inviting me from the University President of Cavite State University. I'm very happy today and would like to send all of you about the topic produce and development of Makapuno coconut in Vietnam. My presentation includes 4 parts. The part 1 is coconut production in Vietnam. The part 2 is Makapuno coconut production in Vietnam. The third part study about processing Makapuno in Vietnam. The fourth part, research, orientation and development for Makapuno coconut in Vietnam. Now I would like to present a presentation for all of you about the part 1, the coconut production in Vietnam. The coconut tree is believed to have the ability to high recover after attacked by the threat about climate change, such as saline intrusion, drought and flooding, and therefore coconut will continuously become the important crop in Vietnam, either increasingly affected by these extreme weather events. The Vietnam coconut plantation kept increased continuously from 2010 to 2018, reached 140,000 hectares in 2018. Coconut trees bring enormously economical efficiency to the farmer, who has large plantation area, also developed in some households that have a small plantation, and coconut trees around riverbanks and roads. Because of the low needs of taking care and stable productivity contributes to solving the problem of labor shortage in rural areas. The context of developing the industrial increasingly attacking workers from provinces and cities. The elderly have unstable life when owning small plantation of coconut trees, which easy to take care and bring stable income. Coconut plantation in Mekong Delta and South Central Coast tends to slightly increase over the years. In Mekong Delta, the average coconut plantation of households is from 0.3 to 0.5 hectares, while the South Central Coast is about 0.1 to 0.2 hectares. Due to the competition with the food crop and industrial crop, the coconut area in Long River Delta just price increase. Recently, 2 varieties of coconuts. Ta, jasmine, the name of Vietnamese coconut, and Zhou jasmine, the name of Vietnamese coconut, as mostly used to get coconut oil in Vietnam, accounting for 80% to 95% of all the coconut variety. Coconuts have been grown for hundreds of years in Vietnam, from the suitable area Cửu Long River Delta to the one with extreme condition south central coast. From the land with fresh water to the one with saline institution. The water salinity sometimes may even reach to more than 10%. And it was said by scientists to be one of the minor plants that have high adaptability when facing with the threat of global climate change and sea level rise. The other variety, which are the same ảo, dứa, that means the name the coconut. That's the name is the Vietnamese coconut name. Makapuno, April, and hybrid coconut variety. For example, ZVA1, ZVA2, and BB121 variety as grown scattered directly in the province of Vietnam, accounting for from 5% to 25%. Especially the variety Makapuno and Makapuno April are grown mainly in Chavin province. Chavin province is just mean the province in the Mekong Delta, at the south Vietnam.
Excuse me po, Dr. Likong Nong. If ever you have a presentation, if you want to share your screen or if you have prepared a presentation, we would love to assist you in
Yeah.
sharing your presentation.
Pardon?
If you have a presentation or let's say a PowerPoint or a slide presentation that you would like to share, we would love to assist you in sharing your presentation.
I just said up my presentation to you through email.
Oh, okay, Paul. We will check the email so we
Yes.
can give out your presentation and share
Yes.
it.
I have just sent my presentation to email those.
Yes, sir. Have you sent it, Paul? Have you sent the presentation already?
Có kênh không chưa đẹp chưa đẹp.
It's okay, sir. If you can send the presentation so we can help you with your discussion because
And
you are
wait,
in
and wait me a moment, and I can show you the presentation in PowerPoint.
Yes, sir. Your topic is really interesting, and we would love to know more about Makapuno in Vietnam. So, if you can share or you can send through email, that will also be helpful.
Giờ sao lên được cái gì?
Dạ, tại bên đó họ share cái màn hình của mình.
Để điện.
Họp sau lần này Dũng là đến siêu.
Chứ học lần nào thì lần đâu thì đọc cái cửa cho nó phải sâu được chưa?
Okay, sir, let us know when you are ready.
Yes.
Okay.
Can you see the?
Are you sharing, sir, your screen? Would you like to share your screen?
Can you see the my presentation through PowerPoint? Okay.
Yes, sir. You can share it or you can send it through mail.
Wait me a moment. It's not starting.
Di card, galing
Share.
may sasabihin. Ah, tabi card. Oh. Hindi ko alam kung ano, kung yun ang latest. Baka may mga sumunod na rin. Hindi ko alam kung yun ang latest.
Okay, so we are just waiting for the presentation to be flashed on screen. And then we'll proceed right away once it's okay.
Anh nói nó share cái quyền hot cho mày tại vì
Can you share the host purpose for me in order to show my presentation through PowerPoint, Microsoft
Yeah.
PowerPoint?
Do you want it to share?
I can not share through PowerPoint.
Okay, sir. Do you want to send it through mail?
I have to send my presentation through the email from the email
Yes,
to you.
yes, sir.
I have to send. I have to send.
Okay.
Can you?
If you have sent it, sir, we would love to check it with the OST
Dot for
Secretariat.
aparaku gmail.com. I have to send.
Okay, so our team is checking your email, so we
Yes.
can help you out.
Yes. And now I continue to presentation.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
You may continue, and then we'll figure out how to show your presentation on screen. Okay, you may proceed, sir.
Thank you. And I would like to continue to present my presentation, the part 2 with the Makapuno coconut production in Vietnam. Makapuno coconut is a Vietnam coconut variety, has a high economical values nowadays. Makapuno coconut is special of Khao district Trà province. The Makapuno coconut give the fruits which ratio of Makapuno coconut persists approximate with the ratio is from 0 to 25% per tree. And the rest are non-watch copra like origin one. Makapuno bring huge income for coconut farmers. One fruit Makapuno costs from 50,000 to 100 Vietnamese đồng, higher than from 10 to 20 times in comparison to coconuts or the coconut variety, and tends to be up to 150,000 Vietnamese đồng to 20 to 200,000 Vietnamese đồng for one Makapuno in festival season. Besides that, with 75% of the non-wash copra, a big amount of material for processing industry as coconut oil, copra, coconut meal. Furthermore, one coconut tree which is grown from the non-Makapuno coconuts costs 2 times higher than the coconut and the coconut. In Vietnam, Makapuno is mostly grown in Trà province. In the Mekong Delta, according to Trà Agriculture Extension Center, currently the Prince Makapuno is about 700 hectares, concentrated mainly in Khao district of Trà province, of which 500 hectares are bearing fruits. The rest is newly planted area. This shows that over the past years, The farmer demand for Makapuno has rapidly increased. This reflected in the last newly planted acre. In addition, the Makapuno tree is also planted scatteredly by the farmer in other localities in the country, such as Bến Tre, Tiền Giang, Vĩnh Long, Tây Ninh province in the south of Vietnam, with an area of only more than 50 hectares. Lately, the area of Makapuno for employer culture is not much about from 30 to 40 hectares, mostly in Cauca district, Taving province. Previously, very few people knew about Makapuno coconuts or did not care about their economic efficiency. Nowadays, because of the high economic value of Makapuno coconut, growing area in Cauca district, Taving province and surrounding area tends to increase. Most of its houses grow a few trees to several dozen Makapuno coconut trees, or when they are need to renovate and change the plant structure. People think about planting Makapuno coconut tree. As a result, there is an increasing demand for scraping with a high proportion of wood, especially Makapuno coconut produced by embryo method. The maintenance and multiplication of Makapuno coconut that farmer using it traditional nursery method. Using non-washed coconut on Makapuno palm and nurturing to form seedling. Sapling grow from this seedling will yield a low ratio of what copra fruit from 0% to 25%. Currently, the Research Institute for Oil and Oil Plant Institute has successfully studied the propagation of Makapuno coconut by embryo technique. Makapuno coconut tree as a multiplier by this method for far higher ratio of what copra fruits, up to more than 80%. 80%. The successes of the process is more than 60%, and the time from when the sample was in the plate to the time it was qualified for outplanting was from 10 to 13 months. Besides, my institute has successfully studied the variety of the Makapuno aromatic coconuts, a hybrid between Makapuno coconut and aromatic coconuts. Up to now, the fruit has about was copra and aromatic at the rate of 4.7%. In recent years, all the Makapuno coconut of F1 hybrid tea have been continuously propagated by the institute using embryo technique to evaluate the F2 generation. In particular, the wasp, copra, and aromatic fruits have been propagated using embryo technique and as continuing to be tested and evaluated. In addition, in Vietnam, there are also a number of units that are also involved in the research and production of Makapuno coconut by embryo methods such as Trà University, International University, Ho Chi Minh City National University, and Anh Đào Science and Technology Trust Company. And now I would like to presentation the part third, part 3, study about processing Makapuno in Vietnam. Currently in Vietnam, Makapuno coconut tree is planted and developed by the farmer to sell fresh fruit, mainly for local tourism business. In order to orient the long-term development of the Makapuno coconut tree, it is impossible not to invest in research and development of the processed product. This is also evident in the general coconut development planning in the province that need synchronous investment in order for state production, purchasing, processing, and consumption. The province Makapuno coconut can increase year through embryo culture Makapuno sapling and when isolated from other coconut variety. The yield has increased because Makapuno palm can produce over 80% of Makapuno coconut. Makapuno coconut has a high economic value because it has many different uses in food technology, such as ice cream technology, confectionery technology, domestic and pharmaceutical. When the technology of processing the product from Makapuno coconut is researched, transferred, and developed, the product process from Makapuno coconut can develop some specific products supplied to the market, create feature to contribute for development of tourism and on-site service in Makapuno growing area. Regarding production technology, the raw material needs to be controlled in terms of quantity and quality to meet the needs of consumer of the market. Especially, the product must be warranted in terms of quality and quality stability. What copra coconut cannot be stored for long after harvesting. Fruit harvested at the right as by the approximate method and stored within from 7 to 10 days. Mr. Thi Mi Hiên and Nguyen Văn Đạt 2014 have conducted research on synthesis and evaluation of some chemical physical characteristics of biodeodorant from coconut Makapuno. The research results have extracted coconut oil from copra, wax copra coconut by the chocolate extraction method with an oil content of about 60% by weight of coconut copra. The transesterification efficiency is quite high, about more than 86% by stirring from heating. The result shows that coconut in the Mekong Delta is also an appropriate material source that can be considered for biodiesel production. From Trần Thành Giang 2013 did a preliminary study on the quality of the Makapuno coconut in Caucan district, Taving province. Whereas dry mud, what copra coconut on average more than 150 grams per fruit. Average content of what copra coconut oil more than 60%. Makapuno coconut has a higher content of fatty acid than regular coconuts. The composition of the basic fatty acid is what copra coconut such as caprylic acid more than 4%, caprylic acid more than 3%, palmitic acid more than 5%, stearic acid more than 2%, and acid oleic more than 2%. In sweet fatty acids, occurs higher content in coconut oil, several lauric acid more than 40%, and mastiric acid more than 11%. Nutritional composition of coconut palm water is about more than 64 grams. Energy 194 kilogram. Protein more than 2 grams. Fat more than 17 grams. Fiber 5 grams. Sugar more than 9 grams. X 0.7 milligram. Consume more than 58 milligram, and potassium 59 milligram, iron more than 1 milligram, and vitamin C 8 milligram. Makapuno coconut fruits has the potential to bring high economic value due to its many different use in the food technology such as ice cream technology, confectionery technology, domestic and pharmaceutical. By a byproduct of the coconut with a high value in Galapagos. However, up to now, there is no unit in Vietnam that has a research on processing Makapuno coconut, as well as Gatatomanan from Makapuno coconut. Facing that situation in 2018 and 2019, the Research Institute for Oil and Oil Plant was carried out task and the funding by the Ministry of Industry and Trade to implement the project, research and process some product from Makapuno coconut as raw material, serving and production of foods product and domestic. The topic has been implemented and achieved some results as follows. Research on coconut material in some locations where the coconut trees are grown have a biological and chemical characteristic. Traditional seed variety of coconut, Caucan seed Taving province, have an average copra fruit per tree ratio of more than 25%. Average weight of the pure fruits 750 71 gram. Copra per fruit ratio more than 47%. Coconut milk per fruit ratio more than 19%. Saturated fatty acids ratio account for 95.5%. Of which the content of chloric acid is more than 48%. Total sugar content more than 3%. Protein more than 1.6%. Fat more than 20%. Potassium is about 2,966 milligram per kilogram. Embryonic coconut Makapuno variety was planted in Trảng Bàng, Bản Phàn district, Tây Ninh province in the southeast area of Vietnam. Has an average ratio of what copra fruits per tree more than 65%. Average weight of pure fruit 893 gram. Ratio of copra per fruit more than 59%. Coconut milk per fruit ratio more than 10%. More than 93% of which is saturated fatty acid, of which the content of chloric acid is about more than 48%. The total sugar content more than 3%, protein more than 1.8%, fat 20%, and potassium is about 2,746 milligram per kilogram. There is a technological process for the production of dry washed copra coconut milk from the palm of the Makapuno coconut, achieving the following criteria: protein content more than 3.8%, fat more than 34%, moisture more than 3%, vitamin C more than 3 milligram per kilogram. Potassium is about 4,185 milligram per kilogram. Polyphenol 185 milligram per kilogram. The microbiological criteria meet fruit safety and Hilton standard. There is a process of manufacturing some fat Makapuno product. What copra coconut candy? What copra coconut cake? What copra coconut ice cream? Meeting food hygiene and safety standard. There is a technological process to extract calcomagnan from the Makapuno. Calcomagnan products meet the criteria according to PCVN 4-21 2011 by Ministry of Health of Vietnam. And now I would like to presentation the back for research orientation and development for Makapuno coconut in Vietnam. With the situation of production, processing, and consumption of coconut as mentioned above, the development orientation of Makapuno coconut in Vietnam in the coming time is as follows. The first, to elaborate a plan on area for growing Makapuno coconut in the direction of the specialized material area, both serving the processing industry and increasing the proportion of what cobra fruit birchi. The second, building geographical indication, protecting Makapuno sapling to become speciality of Chaving province. The third, continue to study and complete the technological process of raising Makapuno coconut embryo, increasing the success rate of the process, contributing to reduce the cost of seedling to serve the needs of production. The fourth, continuing to study and perfect the technology of processing product from copra in the direction of product diversification, research to improve the quality of production, contributing to increase economic value for Makapuno coconut tree. And now I would like to show you some picture related to Makapuno study. As you can see, you can see in the file I can send to you some picture related to Makapuno study. March 1, Makapuno fruits in Kauke district, Vinh province. March 2, Makapuno fruits in the Trảng Bàng district, Tây Ninh province. You can see the different the shape of the Makapuno fruit between the Kauke and Trảng Bàng district. March 3, processing Makapuno milk power and Makapuno muffin and Makapuno soft candy and Makapuno ice cream and galactomannan from Makapuno and IMAT for production made from the Makapuno, include candy, case, ice cream, and galactomannan from the Makapuno power. And some picture in embryo culture process. In that one experiment, cover in dark embryo had to grow. And in that two, not cover in dark embryo had to grow. And in that three, embryo grow after 1 month, cover in dark. And in that four, sapling grow in environment with BAB. In IMAT 5 and IMAT 8, foliar spraying treatment for seedling and nursery stage. And IMAT 7, Makapuno palm culture with embryo are qualified for planting. And thank you very much for listening my presentation. And now, if you have enough time, I can show you some minutes about coconut in Vietnam by film. Can you share for me? Permit to show you the film of Vietnam, film coconut in Vietnam. Thì bảo bao nhiêu phút phim bao nhiêu phút? Phim như 30 cũng dài nó
1 giờ kém 15.
Còn đang sâu đấy.
Giờ nó phải share cái hot cho mình mới xem mình để nó làm nó gì.
Thank you very much
Thank you so
for
much,
listening.
Dr. Lee Kong Nong. Let's give him a round of applause for that very informative presentation. Come on, Bun. Thank you very much. And I would like to say, ta. Very good, Dr. No. Thank you
Thank
so
you very much.
much. Thank you so much for bringing us to Vietnam and
Yeah.
for sharing with us the data in relation to the plantation and coconut production in
Yes.
Vietnam from
Yes.
2010 to 2018. You also mentioned about two varieties of coconut, top coconut and Dao coconut that
Yes.
are mostly used to get coconut oil in Vietnam. You
Yes.
also mentioned about Khao Travin province, the home of Makapuno in your country, and about the Travin Agricultural Extension Center. Currently, the province's Makapuno area, which is about 700 hectares, concentrated mainly the 500 hectares is for the berry fruit and the rest for the newly planted. So that made us imagine how Makapuno farms would look like in Vietnam. You also talked about how the Institute of Oil and Oil Plants have successfully studied the propagation of Makapuno coconut by embryo technique and the current studies about the processing of Makapuno in your country. And of course, you mentioned all these units working together for the research and production of Makapuno through embryo methods such as Travin University, International University in Ho Chi Minh, or the National University, Andal Science and Technology Joint Stock Company, and of course, congratulations for the successful process of doing a hybrid for the Makapuno coconut and the Makapuno aromatic coconut, which is a hybrid of the Makapuno coconut and the aromatic coconut. And you also reminded us that it would be better to invest in the four stages from production to purchasing, processing, and consumption. And lastly, which I love so much, is you showed us pictures of the Makapuno products like the fruit, the milk powder, muffins, soft candies, ice cream. Dr. Lekong Nong, we just had our lunch, and your pictures made us want so much of this Makapuno products as dessert. So thank you once again. And if you have questions for our viewers, you might want to ask while we are with our speaker from Vietnam, anything you want to ask about Makapuno industry in Vietnam. And so, Dr. Nong, we have one question here about the land area in your country that is allotted for Makapuno. So the question is about can you discuss more or give us a general view of the total land area to which Makapuno is planted, the total land area in your country which Makapuno is planted, and if the farmers are able to meet the Makapuno meat requirements to suffice for the demands of your industry in Vietnam. Can you expound or share more about the industry in relation to the land area allotted for Makapuno and the demands that are being met? Are our farmers meeting the demands for the Makapuno meat requirements in your country?
As you know, say in my country, the Makapuno area is about more than 700 hectares. It's concentrated mainly in the Cauca district in Chavin province, and it's a small scan production, so that um, processing of Makapuno is was not developed because there is a small area, and now the family is also using the Makapuno fruit for fresh only in the festival season only. And now in recent year, we carry out some some university in Ho Chi Minh City in the, was carry out the research on processing of Makapuno, but not so much. And
All right.
we only use and now we have some product processing from the Makapuno, for example, ice cream and soap candy and mushroom and galactomannan and it's only. And it's product of the Makapuno. It's not that have not that on the package.
Thank you, Dr. Lee Kong Nong. Just last question, sir, before we proceed to the awarding of the plaque. This is a personal question. Out of all the Makapuno products, which is your favorite, or which do you find most, useful for you personally? Do you love the Makapuno muffin or the ice cream? Which one is your favorite, Dr. Lee Kong Nong?
Yeah, thank you very much.
Okay, do you have your favorite product, like Makapuno muffin or the ice cream? Okay, I
Okay,
think
thank you.
I
Thank you.
think we would love to go to Vietnam to after the pandemic to really visit and try all those products. So once again, thank you so much, Dr. Lee Kong Nong, and of course to formally award the certificate or the plaque of appreciation to our plenary speaker, our first plenary speaker. Let me read the citation. Republic of the Philippines, Department of Science and Technology, and Cavite State University, DOST Calabarzon, and CBSU award this plaque of appreciation to Dr. Lee Kong Nong, Director of Institute of Oil and Oil Plant in Vietnam, in grateful recognition of his invaluable contribution as plenary speaker during the second National Makapuno Summit with the theme Empowering the Stakeholders of the Philippine Makapuno Industry Amidst the Pandemic, given this 26th day of November 2020 via Zoom meeting and Facebook Live. Signed, Dr. Alexander R. Madrigal, Regional Director of the UST Calabarzon, and Dr. Hernando D. Robles, Cavite State University. A virtual round of applause to our first plenary speaker, Dr. Lee Kong Nong. Thank you
Thank
so
you
much,
very
sir.
much from inviting me. And I hope my institute hope to cooperation with you and all of you to develop the Makapuno in Vietnam. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir. We would love to collaborate with your institute in the future.
Hope to
Okay, so
be
thank you so much.
to invite you to visit the Makapuno in Vietnam. All of you.
Yes, sir.
In Makapuno.
Definitely. So welcome to Vietnam,
Yes.
and
Thank
you
you
have to
so
visit
much.
the Philippines too.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Now let's proceed to our second plenary speaker. He is from France. The topic is about the perspective on the status of or initiatives for Makapuno industry in France and Europe, and data about the Pati Island planted with Makapuno palms in Thailand. So our speaker is an international expert of Diversiflora Enterprise in France. Let's greet him, bonjour, Dr. Roland Bourdieu.
Yes. Good morning, everybody. Yes, so I have made a
Morning,
PowerPoint
sir.
with voice. So I will try to put it now, and let's see. So this is it yours? Hello?
Yes, sir, we can see it.
Okay, so normally, no, it's not this one. I send another one, but I will put myself if you want, okay?
Okay, sir. So we are trying to pull up the one with voice, right?
Yes. I try to put, and you tell me if it's okay. Do you
Okay,
see my
sir.
presentation?
We will check, sir, with our secretariat. I
No,
think
no, no.
we are.
Do you see my presentation I put on my screen?
Oh, it doesn't show yet, sir.
Not
So,
yet, Roland. Not yet.
so I
Yes,
have to
sir.
find. Uh, I must make screen
Okay,
Miss
sir.
Aline, maybe
and
make
this one.
make make co-host to Roland. Make co-host.
And now, do you
Okay,
see?
okay.
Okay, sir. Yes, po. We are seeing it now.
Okay. You hear the sound.
Okay now.
Okay, sir. Can you adjust the volume? We cannot hear it clearly.
Do you hear? Do you hear what the sound of the PowerPoint?
Yes, sir.
So I put it again.
Yes, sir. We can hear it, but it's, I think the volume, we can't hear it that much.
It's too much. I should try to reduce. And see. Okay. So I can. Yes. So what happened? Dear organizers of the second National Makapuno Summit, dear Chairman, dear participants, ladies and gentlemen, is it good now? Good early morning from Montpellier in France. Today I will present a lecture on perspectives on the status and initiatives for Makapuno industry in France and Europe, and I also will present some data about the Pati Island planted with Makapuno palm in Thailand. Today, I will present first some information on Filipino communities in Europe and France, then the status of Makapuno industry in Europe. From this data, I will suggest some plans for empowering European Makapuno sales in link with the pandemic. Then I will talk about present and past research on Makapuno in Europe. After, I will describe most important points about Makapuno in the global strategy published by COGENT, the International Coconut Genetic Resources Network. After that, I will tell you the quite amazing story of the Pati Island, all planted with Makapuno in Thailand. From this example, I will develop some perspective in link with the Polymotu concept. Then I will finish by showing some surprising items looking like Makapuno for a project of Coconut Museum. About 10% of Filipinos live abroad. In 2017, there were about 9.1 million in 193 countries. In 2013, there were around 1 million in the Middle East, 0.9 million in Asia, 0.5 million in Europe, and 0.25 in America. There have been 4 waves of immigration. The last one started in the 90s and continues to grow. It is more and more feminine. Out of 10 departures, 6 concern women. In France, Filipinos, migrants and their descendants, are between 47,000 and 65,000, of which about 53,000 live there illegally. Philippine communities abroad are an important potential market for Makapuno products. The community living abroad could consume itself but also help to make Makapuno products known to national citizens. In my opinion, they should be the first target for communication actions. Europe is globally an important potential market, more than America, for Makapuno products. The pandemic has strongly changed consumption habits and increased online orders instead of direct purchases in stores. We have therefore studied the online availability of Makapuno products from Europe and more specifically in France. With this in mind, we studied the main websites used in France and Europe. They are Amazon, eBay.fr and .com, Cdiscount.fr, Etsy, and Alibaba. We also conducted a general search using Google. We noted the number of Makapuno products available for sale, their origin, price and shipping prices, the price per kilogram of food including shipping in US dollar and pesos. On Amazon.com, there is no product for Makapuno with K, and only 3 products for Makapuno with C. All are sold from Georgia, USA. But during the buying process, we had this message: sorry, this item cannot be shipped to France. Prices without shipping range from 9.3 USD for a pack of 24 to 23 USD for a pack of 1 per kilogram of food. On the website eBay.fr, there is no product for Makapuno and only one product for Makapuno with C. Sold from United Kingdom at about 7,300 Philippine pesos or 152 US dollar per kilogram of food, so very, very expensive. On eBay.com, there are about 15 products, all sold from USA but one, Canada. Price including shipping to Europe is about 3,600 Philippine pesos, so 74 US dollar per kilogram of food. So it remains very, very expensive. On the website Cdiscount.com, leader in France, and AliExpress, no Makapuno product is sold. On the website Etsy.com, there is only one from the USA at 1,600 Filipino pesos or 179 US dollar per kilogram of food. So again, very, very expensive. Alibaba.com is a website devoted to wholesale. Makapuno, spelling with a K, is sold only from Vietnam, and this is 7 US dollar or 48 pesos per coconut with a minimum order of 100 pieces. For Makapuno, spelling with a C, products are sold from Vietnam, 3, Indonesia, 2, Singapore, 2, and the Philippines, only 2. Considering the assessment made above, our advices to boost sale of Makapuno products in Europe are based on 4 main points. First, please wake up. So try to make available Makapuno product online from the Philippines to Europe on websites such as Amazon or eBay. Second, use both Makapuno and Makapuno spellings in the description. I mean Makapuno with C and Makapuno with K. If you want to be visible, For instance, only Vietnam used Makapuno with K on Alibaba. Third point, the action of the ICC International Coconut Community on benefits of coconut oil against COVID-19 could also benefit Makapuno industry. And last, communication and marketing action should be geared primarily to Filipino communities living abroad. Cost, delay, and reliability of shipping from the Philippines to Europe may be the main selling constraint for selling Makapuno products. We tried to obtain the best shipping price from the Philippine Post Office, but we failed to obtain reliable data from France. Here are presented some of the case stages of research on Makapuno and more generally on the in vitro culture of coconut palm embryos. In 1964, the first publication on in vitro culture of coconut embryo was made by Filipino researchers Guzman and Rosario in 1964. In 1989, there were a collaboration between the Philippines and the German government, GIZ, with Dr. Ebert, based at Albay. Y College, UK, Dr. Janet Blake was also involved in the project, mainly devoted to asexual propagation system for coconut. In 1995, the collaboration with Dr. Ebert continued until at least this date, with publication on in vitro culture of coconut embryos. By this date, about 150 fields planted in vitro grown Makapuno palm were at ARC for further field evaluation. From 2015 to 2018, another coconut project with GIZ was launched, but it was focused on sustainable certified oil and not on Makapuno. Nowadays on Google Scholars, there is 184 publications for Makapuno with C and 540 for Makapuno with K, 70 for both, and many of these publications come from the Philippines. In the 90s, CIRAD, the French Agricultural Research Center for International Development, in collaboration with African researchers, also contributed to improve the embryo culture techniques with the work of Asiba and team. Currently, active researchers who have worked on in vitro coconut culture in France are Florent Engelman from IRD, the French Research Institute for Development, ex-Orstom, and Jean-Luc Verdeil, who is from CIRAD. Florent is not longer researching on coconut, he is now the IRD representative in an African country, Benin. Jean-Luc Verdeil is now the head of plant histocytology and cell imaging platform, PHIV, and works on many crops. Their last publication related to coconut in vitro culture are dated 2010 and 2012. They are on characterization of the cyclin-dependent kinase, a gene expression during somatic embryogenesis of coconut palms, and on a simple protocol for cryopreservation of zygotic embryos of 10 accessions of coconut. Yes, so here are the two publications cited. COGENT is the international network for coconut genetic resources, now under the umbrella of ICC, the International Coconut Community. Its global strategy for conservation and use of coconut genetic resources 2014-2023 was published in 2018. The editors were myself and Alexia Pratt. This document gathered more than 90 contributors from more than 20 countries, including researchers, international institutions, private companies, NGOs, and international experts. Each of the 132 sections of the strategy was preferably authored by 3 contributors from 3 different continents or regions. So in this drawing, each line means that the 2 researchers have published together one section of the strategy. So there is in this drawing 434 unique interactions. That means that these people work together. Yes, so this slide is an illustration of 2 very important chapters of the Cogent Global Strategy. Chapter 2, where we are now, was directed by Dr. Semiramis Ramos. What happened? Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yes, so I have this problem on the sound on this one, so I will. Yes, so chapter 2 was under the responsibility of Semiramis Ramos, Dr. Semiramis Ramos from the Gene Bank for International Gene Bank for Latin America. You can let my presentation. It's not finished. Huh? You remove my presentation?
Can you share it again, sir?
Yes.
Okay, we're not seeing it on screen. Will you be able to share it again?
Yes.
Thank you, sir.
No, there is a problem, sorry. Yes, this one. So, talk. And that. Yes, is it working?
We are not seeing anything yet, sir.
Ah, je sais pas. I would say partager l'écran. Partager.
Okay, we are seeing it now, sir.
Okay. Ah. It's working now?
The audio is not that audible, sir. I think we have to increase the volume, like what you had a while ago.
So I will put more démarrer my video.
Thank you, sir.
Is it good now?
Still not that clear, sir. If you can increase the volume.
No. I will put some more sound. I try to put some more sound. Sorry for the technical.
Sir. It's okay, sir. We really appreciate you and your presentation, so it's okay.
It's good now?
The audio, sir, is not yet that audible.
I cannot understand why, because before it was too strong. So I will do it again.
Mm,
O-
or if you
Okay.
want, sir, to share it live.
I try again. Okay.
Okay, sir. It's still not as clear as that a while ago.
You don't understand you don't hear the sound.
I hear it a little bit, sir, but I think the rest of us are not hearing it clearly or loud enough.
Okay. So I will go to next slide and see if it's working. Okay.
Okay, sir.
It's good.
It's not that audible, sir. I'm
Oh.
sorry. We are hearing a sound, but it's not that loud for us to understand.
So I put the maximum, but before you say me it was too strong, and now something happened, and so I try it again.
Okay, sir.
Can you hear?
We are hearing it, sir. Can we ask other staff to confirm just to check? Um, Sir Jerry, are you hearing it loud?
You can hear.
Okay. Yes, sir. We cannot hear the audio clearly.
Okay, so I will do the audio by myself. Okay.
Okay, sir. Thank you for that, sir.
Yes, yes, yes. So I will go back to
Yes, sir.
this. Yes, so I continue to speak about the cogent global strategy, and Makapuno is cited 24 times in the strategy, including 4 points that I will develop here. So, in Indonesia, creating many copier islands is envisioned similar to the Makapuno island existing in Thailand, but with a different design. A project was submitted for the Caribou Islands, which are located at about 80 kilometers from Jakarta, but the funding was not obtained, although Dr. Enki Novarianto tried recently to revive the project. Another point is about globally coordinated coconut breeding program. Cogent decided no longer to promote such a program because the interest of breeder in the different country were quite different. But if some member countries are interested in exchanging breeding progeny, Cogent will continue to support them. Such a possible exchange was recently discussed for Makapuno copier varieties. The main challenge could be to obtain the commitment of researchers, their parent institutions and countries to exchange this sensitive material. Sending pollen is the fastest and the cheapest way to conduct such germplasm exchanges. Organizing such exchange was up to now not successful. So I continue with the citation of Makapuno in the global strategy of the Cogent network. And these 2 points are extracted from the strategy. In 2007, Thai researchers crossed Makapuno with aromatic varieties. They succeeded in obtaining a few autogamous Makapuno aromatic homozygous dwarfs. These new varieties will naturally produce 90 to 95% Makapuno aromatic fruits. We obtained some more recent information from Mrs. Wilaiwan Twishri, former Assistant Director at PCC-ICC and Agricultural Senior Officer, Industrial Crop Division in Thailand. She told that Department of Agriculture official announced that 2 of the 5 hybrids to be recommended varieties, and they were Malayan Yellow Dwarf by Makapuno and Nam Hom, so aromatic, crossed by Makapuno. Afterward, DOA provided budget to produce Makapuno hybrid seedlings for farmers, but it remained insufficient for farmers' demand, and there is less than 30,000 seedlings produced per year. The Makapuno island in Thailand is planted with a mix of tall type and green dwarf types of Makapuno varieties. We will now develop this point in the next section of this lecture. So this is the location of the Pati Islands in Thailand. And what happened is that the authority made a big dam, and the peak of hills were turned to more than 100 new islands. So this is the aspect of this Makapuno. In this island, all the coconuts were cut. After that, they planted all the island only with Makapuno palms obtained from embryo culture. And I had the opportunity to visit the island. So in the 90s, about 20,000 Makapuno coconuts were bought. They obtained 8,000 good embryos that were cultivated in vitro. And 2,000 plantlets were transferred to the island. Sorry. All the marketing of the product was based on our Makapuno coconut never germinate. But one day they had a complaint from a customer that one of these coconut has germinated. They opened the coconut, and despite it was germinating, it was Makapuno inside. So the owner made the courageous and costly decision to stop all the production in the island and to transfer all the seed nuts identified by Mauve Palm to see if one batch of seedling was germinating. In 2000, the owner of the island found out the Mauve Palm that produced germinating Makapuno. He had only 5 seedlings, but only 2 of them grew up. He brought the 2 Makapuno seedlings to plant in another island dedicated to old palm seed garden. And this other island was located at about 30 minutes of Pati Island by a rapid speedboat. After that, the island were reclaimed by Department of National Park, Wildlife and Plant Conservation in 2016 as illegally occupied, and all Makapuno activity ceased. And I tried to get the end of the story, but nobody seems to have it, and we don't know what happened to this germinating Makapuno. Yes, perspective of the Makapuno production in link with the Polymo 2 concept. Polymo2 is a research and development concept in multifunctional management. It intends to use small island, valley, or other geographically isolated locations for the conservation of biodiversity of various species, including the coconut palm. The detection of germinating Makapuno was made possible only because the mother trees were perfectly isolated in a design like Polymo2. Polymo2 is seated in the global strategy of the Cogent Network for conservation and seed production purposes. Using Polymo2, some of the most important constraints of ex situ collection are shift. Open pollination prevents true type and cheap seed nuts. The duration of a coconut accession will then be extended from 25-30 years. This is the current lifespan in ex situ collection to 75 to 100 years. So it was also advised to teach farmers and other stakeholders how to autonomously produce quality seedling of hybrids and other varieties using the Polymo2 concept or any other adopted method. So we have seen that with this Patty Island example, that Polymo2 may also give unexpected and positive results when applied to mutant population like Makapuno. So I am presently trying to develop a coconut museum project and to gather many items, many surprising items linked to coconut. And there are some gemstones and jewels that resembles Makapuno. So you can see here, there are geodes, natural geodes, that are mainly found in a small village of Mexico, Las Joyas, and some of the stones that are sometimes uh, used for making jewels really look like Makapuno, but this is stones. In the same Coconut Museum project, we also prepared high-definition posters. There are presently 13 on different aspects of coconut uses and research and varieties. And they are available free at the internet link given below. And it will be good to make one on Makapuno also. So thank you very much, and I hope to have the opportunity to come back to the Philippines when the pandemic will be finished.
Thank you so much. Merci beaucoup, Dr. Verdu, for that wonderful presentation. You started with telling us about the Filipino communities, the Filipino shops bringing this Makapuno products, and we really appreciate all those data from the online selling platforms that you have mentioned. And that struck me when you told us to wake up and to make more Makapuno products available to Europe. With, of course, the advice to also consider the use of Makapuno with a K and Makapuno with a C. So you also gave us a timeline of all these past and present European researches on Makapuno, and of course, we appreciate the cogent strategy and the concept of Polymoto that you have shared. And you also brought us to Thailand, particularly to Phi Island in Thailand, wherein you share with us the story of the Makapuno Island there. So it's just like going to two different countries in that one presentation. So thank you for that. And of course, we ended with a very interesting presentation you did a museum tour for us, and we'll surely visit Diversiflora blog site after this, considering that you really spark our interest in terms of this Makapuno related stuff that you have mentioned. And we have one question here, Dr. Bertu. So let me just pull that question up. Okay, so one of our participants is asking, you mentioned in your slide that Europe is a more important market than USA. Why did you say so, or what is the potential of Makapuno that European appreciate it more than Americans?
Uh, the analysis I made is that the Filipino community in Europe is globally much more important than in America. There are much more Filipinos living in Europe than in America. And I think the communication strategy for developing a Makapuno product must be based first on Filipinos community living abroad. As there are plenty of Filipinos living in Europe, it can be a big market.
Thank you, sir. That's very interesting, and we would love to meet you and the Filipino communities in Europe soon. But for now, we would love to give you our plaque of appreciation for being our plenary speaker for today. So let me read the citation. Republic of the Philippines, Department of Science and Technology, Calabarzon, and Cavite State University award this plaque of appreciation to Dr. Roland Verdu, the international expert at Diversiflora Enterprise in France, in grateful recognition of his invaluable contribution as plenary speaker during the second National Makapuno Summit with the theme Empowering the Stakeholders of the Philippine Makapuno Industry Amidst the Pandemic, given this 26th day of November 2020 via Zoom meeting and Facebook Live. Signed, Dr. Alex R. Madrigal, Regional Director of DOST Calabarzon, and Dr. Hernando D. Robles, Cavite State University President. Once again, let's give a virtual round of applause to our friend in France, Dr. Roland Berdu. Thank you so much, sir, and we hope
Thank you.
to get to collaborate with you soon with all these projects, either in Thailand or in France. So thank you once again. Now, at this point, we will be proceeding to another neighboring country in Asia. So we'll proceed first to the talk. It was supposed to be the fourth one, but since we are having some difficulties with our technical difficulties for our third talk. So let's proceed first to our fourth talk for today with the topic National Perspective on the Status Initiatives for Makapuno Industry in Indonesia, to be delivered by the senior scientist of Indonesia Palm Crops Research Institute, or IPCRI in Indonesia. Let us all welcome and greet Salamat Sore, Professor Dr. Henki Novarianto.
Thank you, Moderator Miss Aline. Can you become me co-host so I can present directly from my laptop?
Okay, sir. Well noted. We will ask our secretariat to make Dr. Henke as co-host so he can share the presentation straight from his computer. Once you're ready, sir, you may share your screen and we can proceed with the presentation.
Yes, I wait.
Terima kasih.
Sama-sama. Hello, not yet until now.
Okay, so we are asking our host from our partners to work on making Sir our co-host. So Sir would be able to share.
Still waiting. I want to thanks to Philippine government and then the host for invite me as one resource speaker from Indonesia. I see here many of my best friend, Madam Rilo, Linda Rilo, Mr. Ramon Rivera, Alin, and the other, and Roland Borders too. Okay, thank you for inviting me a co-host. I will present now. Can you see my slide now?
Yeah, yes, sir.
Okay. My title is National Perspective on the Status Initiative for Copier Industry in Indonesia. My outline presentation, I start with introduce, and then I will present about the varieties and spread of copier coconut in Indonesia. Then the next item, potential and problem of copier coconut. Then development of copier coconut research. And then the copier coconut research program in 5 years later. As you know, Makapuno distributed in several countries like the main in Philippines, and then the other country like Thailand, Vietnam, India, and different name. But in Indonesia, and like Madam Linda Rilo now, our Makapuno, we call copier, but different tasks and different endosperm. You can see this is the copier destroy like this, but the Makapuno, you can see soft, but any like oil. But the uses almost the same, used for ice cream and etc. Our copier coconut is a mutant origin of Indonesia. And you know, like Makapuno, the price of copier 10 times compared to normal coconut. And the potential of this copier is to increase coconut farmer income. Then we see this promising business for opportunities. I will talk about the varieties and spread of copier coconut. We have two types of copier. The one is tall type, and the second is dwarf type. There are two. The tall type distributed in Sumatra, Madura, in East Java, Central Java, West Java, Kalianda or South Lampung province. This is near Jakarta, our capital city of Indonesia. So most of the copier coconut distributed in Java Island until Lampung in Sumatra. And especially for dwarf type, this is central in Pati region. Pati region is in central Java, the dwarf. You can see in our map. So I presented that the distributed of the copier is along of Java Island and some in Lampung. The potential of copier palm, this is in 5 production center. Kalianda in Lampung, in Sumatra, Pati, especially for dwarf copier in Central Java, Tangerang Banten in West Java near Jakarta, and this Sumeneb is Java in island of Madura. Then Jember in Central East Java too. the production at farmer level, I talk the natural copier. The copier toll, we can get less than 25% nut copier per bunch because the copier not from embryo culture, but normal seed, so heterozygote. Then the copier draft, you can see more than the tall one. Farmer can get 3 to 5 nut copier per bunch or less than 40% from the total nut per pound. And the characteristic endosperm of our copier toll, one of our researchers, Dr. Ismail Maskromo, his PhD in Bogor University about copier coconut, he makes core until 9. So this is core 1, very thin, the meat of copier, and then more fat, score 2, and so on until full in the nut. So he give Ismail Maskromo gives score 9. What the problem behind the potential? I explained. First, the information of potential and genetic diversity is incomplete. The second, production of copier fruit is still low relative because, like I say, they use most of the farmers use the natural seedling or the heterozygote seedling from the normal nut. The third, farmer developed from a natural copier seed nut. Natural copier seed nut do not always bear copier fruit, something 50% or 60 to 40% from the normal, like this. Ismail make some macromolecular analyze the copier too. So this is the genetic diversity of copier coconut by Maskromo and Sudarsono, 2015. So you can see the distributed or different to each other copier dwarf Pati, copier tall Lampung, etc. until copier tall Sumeneb from the marker molecular. And how about the development of copier coconut research? Copier coconut development through embryo culture in Indonesia, we done in first in Biotechnology Center Research, RP in Bogor. Second, in our institute, IPSRI Manado in North Sulawesi. The third in University or UPN Veteran Surabaya in East Java. And the fourth is in PMB Lab IPB Purwokerto. This is in Central Java by Professor Dr. In this university. And then they use copier coconut homozygote. They take the key, small key, then use for embryo culture. But the other, the meat they sell to a restaurant and the other. But we know that potential from embryo culture, we can produce 100% copier nut per palm if not contamination. The variety of copier dwarf, actually we have 4, but we released 3 varieties. We have the copier green dwarf, we have the copier brown dwarf, we have the copier yellow dwarf, and the other, but we not released until now, we have the copier red dwarf. And the mother palm of its variety, we get more than, this is 787 palm, and etc. The total almost 1,400 around the palm of copier as a mother palm. You can see this is the green copier dwarf, like this. This is the brown and the yellow one. According to the stakeholder or consumer, the green one and the brown better than the yellow. I don't know, maybe the touch of everybody is different to each other. You see, this is the one population. So copior in Pati region, they planted not in the garden, but behind the yard. Only some people, family have 10 palm, some have 20 palm, some have in the yard only 5 palm. But you know, mixed with the normal coconut. Why do they not cutting the normal coconut? Because they can sell for fresh nut. So mix copior heterozygote mix with the normal coconut. And then I want to say from the heterozygote, copior palm heterozygote can get 60 to 70%. So potential 150,000 seed nut from this region. And you know the price of nature copior, this is not embryo, only nature copior. Seedling is cheaper, only $2.5 per seedling. And then copior coconut farmer, there are around 5,000 family in this region. Marketing copior fruit, around 80,000 nut per month. And according my friend as a coconut farmer from Central, from the Pati region, although now pandemic of COVID-19, but the demand of copior not decrease, especially from the big city like Jakarta, Semarang, Surabaya. The price in farmer level only 1.5 to $2 per nut copior. You can imagine with the normal coconut only 30 cents now the price. So 10 times. The income per pound per year almost $100. The policy and strategy for developing copior coconut in Pati region. First, they want to develop a new planting, replanting, and rehabilitation. If they have a small island like in Seribu, Seribu is 1,000 island. Like Roland say, maybe I can suggest to Polimoto Island for copior near Pati, but they not have small island. Second, intensification and maintenance. Sorry, I charge. Sorry. Second, third, they will develop the technology innovation by using tissue culture for develop of frozen copior meat. 5, promotion by developing copior coconut as agrotourism. So in Pati, they have agrotourism, the local or tourists from abroad come to Pati region and they can show them the copior palm and the product from copior, something like that. Now I will explain that from the normal palm, this is from Sisunanda. Possibility we produce copior tree only 60 to 70%, if assuming as a single gene, and a low number of copior nut per tree. So from the copior palm, we only get in tall 10 to 20% nut copior, and in draft 20 to 40% nut copior, if heterozygote copior. Sisunandar, test result of copior seedling from embryo culture. He is Professor Sisunandar. In UPM Purwokerto location, this university in Purwokerto, the campus Dukuwalu name of village, they have 1 hectare former rice field irrigation technical, and the altitude is 75 meters from the sea level. The normal coconut palm free over 1 kilometer from the copior coconut by embryo culture. And the result, you see, the dwarf copior, they get 100% copior. Then the tall, they get 90 to 95% copior nut. We compare with the other seed garden. This is named Sindang Garden location. Professor Sisunandar planted in Karang Kemiri Village, Pekujen District, Banyumas area in 4 hectares. The land is hilly land without irrigation, elevation 485 meters from sea level, and adjoining smallholder coconut plantation, normal coconut around that plantation of copior. Then he get dwarf copior, more than 90% copior nut, but the tall copior only 60 to 80% copior nut. So they conclude to compare with this one, if there are some normal coconut, will be decrease the percentage of copior nut. Biotechnology Research Center in RPN Bogor, this is Mr. Imron. Production of copior embryo culture seedlings since 2015. Total seed garden area, they have 30 hectares and planted 6,000 palm of copior coconut. Copior seedling production capacity 10,000 seedling per year. The distribution of copior seedling in Indonesia from Aceh to Papua from this research. And this is the technology culture embryo for 100% copior coconut. You can see the price seedling. Tall variety, they sell around $35 per seedling. And the dwarf variety, they sell $83 per seedling. Then you compare with the seedling of copior nature or heterozygote copior by the farmer, only 2.5 per seedling. So very different. And the seedling is very limited. You must pay 2 years before the seedling will come. And this is another our activity research is hybridization of copior coconut. So the dwarf copior heterozygote, we cross with the pollen from tall copior homozygote, and we can get 50-50% the hybrid copior and the fruit copior. And the copior coconut research program for the next 5 years, we make a hybridization green, yellow, brown dwarf copior heterozygote by tall copior homozygote. The second activity is hybridization green, yellow, and brown dwarf copior heterozygote by aromatic green dwarf and their reciprocal. So like Kati or Makapuno in Thailand, like Roland present, they cross with aromatic, they aromatic. The third is propagation of copior coconut seedlings through embryo culture and somatic embryogenesis. This is our dream, the copior, maybe plenty of fruit and then short trunk, plenty of nut per bunch, and most of them is copior. This is Mam Linda Rilo Makapuno in Albay Research Center when I visit. I forget the time. Thank you very much, Miss Alin.
Terima kasih banyak teman kami dari Indonesia. Thank you very much to our friend from Indonesia, Dr. Henki Noverianto. So while our participants are sending in questions for Dr. Henki, let's have a quick recap of your presentation, sir. So we thank you for presenting to us the varieties of Makapuno in your country, the tall and the dwarf, and you also introduced to us your 5 production centers. You also mentioned the problems behind the potential of copior. And also, of course, the Copior Coconut Research Program, which we really got a lot of insights from it, plus the policies and strategies for developing copier coconut in Pati. And so maybe we can present or proceed rather to the question. We have one question here, sir, about government support, okay, for the Makapuno industry there in Indonesia. So the question, sir, is there a government move for massive distribution planting of copier in the whole Indonesia?
Thank you, Ms. Allen, and thank you for the question. Like in my presentation, our seedling of copior in by embryo culture is still limited and very expensive. But in Pati region, because in Pati, copior is one commodity they focus, so they make the agro eco tourists for copier too. They buy some seedling and then distribute it to coconut copier farmer. So this strategy, all participants they planted the homozygote copier in population of heterozygote copior. The one purpose to increase the copior nut, because the pollen of homozygote copior will cross with this heterozygote, and they hope they will get more copior nut per palm. And the other, until now, our institute and our government focus for tissue culture, massal propagation by tissue culture, but until now, you know, the success is not yet, and still use the embryo. The other, I think, the government, they promotion the marketing, but like I say, although COVID-19, the demand of the copier nut is increased, because some people believe if we consume the copier copier meat, we eat the oil of coconut too, and they know in coconut oil high of lauric acid and the other medium chain fatty acid, so good for accelerate the for who's sick by COVID-19, something like that. Thank you.
Terima kasih, Dr. Henky. Very well said po.
You are
The
welcome.
the second question is about Makapuno products. Any famous or known products from Makapuno? Famous product in Indonesia that's from Makapuno?
Uh, until now, I know only copior, because most of Indonesia people don't know about the Makapuno. And you know, in Indonesia, we not have the Makapuno palm. So they produce only from copior,
Thank
not
you so much.
Makapuno like in Philippines or in Thailand, they cut it, etc.
All right. Thank you so much, sir. That was very informative, and we would love to visit you too there in Indonesia. But for now, we would like to formally award you the certificate or the plaque of recognition and appreciation for being our plenary speaker. So, for the citation, let me read. Republic of the Philippines, Department of Science and Technology, Calabarzon, and Cavite State University award this plaque of appreciation to Dr. Henky Novarianto, Senior Scientist at Indonesia Palm Crops Research Institute in Indonesia, in grateful recognition of his invaluable contribution as plenary speaker during the second National Makapuno Summit with the theme Empowering the Stakeholders of the Philippine Makapuno Industry amidst the pandemic, given this 26th day of November 2020 via Zoom meeting and Facebook Live. Signed, Dr. Alexander R. Madrigal, Regional Director of DOST Calabarzon, and Dr. Hernando D. Robles, Cavite State University President. Once again, a round of applause for our third plenary speaker, Dr. Henky Novarianto. Sampai jumpa. Lagi see you again, sir. All right. So
You're
we are
welcome.
Thank you, sir. Now we're done with our first three speakers, and we deserve a break after this very informative session. But after our 10-minute break, we will be back for our last two plenary talks this afternoon. So see you again after 10 minutes. We can have a bladder break or a merienda, like a snack break. So feel free to do anything within 2 minutes. See you guys.
More than half of the Filipinos tend farms and plantations in the rural areas, majority of which still use traditional farming techniques. With the country's long line of premier agricultural crops, the government has made strides to develop and process yields to increase the income capacity and marketability of local agricultural trade and industry. One of these is the Makapuno produce, a type of coconut with a soft jelly-like flesh. Makapuno has a distinct tenderness and richness with its gelatinous meat perfect for candies, ice cream, and other delectable desserts.
Picard in the 1990s and even the Technology Application Promotion Institutes made a big program to develop the R&D component for the enhancement of the Makapuno industry.
The Philippine Coconut Research and Development Foundation has been supporting the Makapuno industry since we started kasi nakita nga namin yung potential niya as an economic mover.
And so we try to develop several laboratories and campaign and promote the use of the embryo Makapuno culture. We develop the R&D program and then try to come up with a roadmap. Ano bang ating target?
As of 2009, there are more than 500 hectares of Makapuno fields all over the country. In 2011, the demand for Makapuno reached the international arena and has been an essential ingredient to the big ice cream producers in the Philippines. The recent increase in demand for the Makapuno has led farmers, scientists, inventors, and entrepreneurs to find innovative ways on how to process and market Makapuno. This even opened up product development and export possibilities at par with international products.
We could put Makapuno in the food and pharmaceutical industry market.
Ngayon, ang maganda na since marami na nagpo-produce, marami na mga farmers na nag-i-invest kahit mahal yung Makapuno, ang research na ngayon is on the product development.
May mga na-develop ng mga interested groups, mga institutions to adopt the technology ng laboratory for the production of embryo cultured Makapuno.
Through years of technological research and development, such as the embryo culture technology that increased the percentage yield per hectare of Makapuno nuts, the Makapuno has leaped from being naturally grown to being mass-produced to ensure a steady supply of Makapuno meat, both for local and international trade.
We've put up satellite laboratories to showcase farmers na merong ganitong technology at may ganitong Makapuno that can boost the coconut industry.
And the Makapuno is a high value crop. They treat as a value crop. Kaya hindi siya pumasok doon sa ibang commodity. Ang treatment sa kanya is a high value crop.
Makapuno eventually started agri-economic industries for desserts, preserves, world-class cuisine, healthcare, and even beauty and wellness.
We were able to come up with several pharmaceutical and new food products for Makapuno.
May diversified yung utilization natin sa Makapuno aside from its food applications. Edible coating, biodegradable wound for wound applications. Ngayon, marami rin mga nag-invest ngayon na mga Makapuno, sa mga Makapuno kasi ang nakikita nila, like for example right now, mahal ang Makapuno.
Through the Makapuno Production Roadmap 2011 to 2016, being crafted by the Southern Tagalog Consortium for Industry and Energy Research and Development, or STCIRD, the Makapuno is targeted to expand to more than 800 hectares of land area all over the country.
The production roadmap would have achieved the level kung saan sufficient na yung number of trees to supply the requirement ng buong processing industry.
Simula nung nag-start kami noong 1997, we've already given out more than 10,000 seedlings sa different farmers sa iba't ibang locations sa Philippines.
We targeted based on the capability ng mga na-establish namin Makapuno embryoculture laboratories together with the enhancement ng productivity noong each laboratory and the technique to produce it and to reduce the cost.
To ensure the quality standards of Makapuno-based products, the STCIRD has initiated the Philippine Makapuno Seal of Quality. This entitles Makapuno-based enterprises to use the seal in all their marketing promotions based from the guidelines of the use of the Philippine Makapuno mark. Consumers are also assured that the products have undergone strict quality control.
We now have successfully applied last year yung Makapuno brand.
Napupush niya yung growth ng Makapuno. Kasi ang main purpose nun is to imprint that Makapuno comes from the Philippines. Kasi if you have that seal and you are member of that group, then we can assure the public, the consumers, that the Makapuno products that they buy are of good quality and came from good laboratories or even manufacturers.
Through the Philippine Makapuno Seal of Quality and local and foreign investment, global market opportunities are expected in the years to come. The Philippine Makapuno Seal of Quality is poised to establish the Makapuno as a large-scale economic mover to help improve lives of farmers and micro, small, and medium enterprises.
Mas maganda yung diversification in the industrial side para mas marami tayong mga products that we can make use of them.
Would like to encourage all our entrepreneurs, our MSMEs, and even the industry itself to adopt the Philippine Makapuno trademark, our local brand.
The Philippines is an ideal place to grow quality coconut trees because of its location and topography, making
All right, welcome back, everyone. At this point, we will be proceeding to our fourth plenary talk to be delivered by our very diligent regional director. So, for the topic, National Perspective on the Status or Initiatives for Makapuno Industry in the Philippines, let us all welcome the Regional Director of the DOST Calabarzon here in the Philippines, Dr. Alexander R. Madrigal. Good afternoon po, Sir Madrigal. All right, so while we are waiting for Dr. Alex, we would like to remind our participants that later, after our 5 plenary talks, we will be answering an evaluation form for day 1. So we have 2 evaluation forms, one for day 1 and another for day 2. So please don't forget to answer your evaluation form for day 1 to be able to receive a certificate for today. And of course, feel free to share your insights on Facebook or to your friends, or maybe collaborate with other participants here. You may see them here on our list of participants. If you're looking for someone you can work with in the Makapuno industry, we would love collaborations. And if you have additional questions, always feel free to type it here on the Q&A or email the Secretariat team for your questions. Okay?
No.
Good afternoon, sir.
Okay, am I clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay, sorry for that, for the interruption. Okay, thank you very much, Miss Lady. I would like to present to you the national perspective on the status and initiatives for the Makapuno industry here in the Philippines. Before I proceed, I would like to give credits to this presentation to the technical working group of the Makapuno, Makapuno program, which revisit the Makapuno industry roadmap just a month ago, because it was revisited last 2017. We again revisit it just last month so that we could update the status of our initiatives on this Makapuno here in the Philippines. So special mention to Dr. Erlin Manuar, who provided us with a lot of information on the hectareage planted on Makapuno. So a special mention also to the various uh, heads of the different laboratories and stations of PCA, to our partners from DA, from PCRDF, DOST, and all the private practitioners and players and stakeholders, especially the processing firms who produce food products from Makapuno. So my presentation is outlined. We will have a bit background and introduction. Then we will present to you the perspective on Makapuno production, and then the perspective on Makapuno processing, and then we will have a current status of the supply and demand and demand gap for Makapuno meat and nuts. Okay, so we started our effort to again revitalize the industry through the establishment of several Makapuno Embryo Culture Laboratory in coordination with other private groups, you know. But previous to that, the Philippine Council for Agricultural Resources Research and Development, or PCARD, under the OST also, has funded a lot of laboratories under PCA through the initiatives also of then Dr. Erlin Darillo. Dr. Erlin Darillo is a special mention to Makapuno because I inherited to her the passion on Makapuno. She contaminated me a lot, so that's why I took up the passion when she retired, that I will pursue this particular activity on Makapuno. And so those established Makapuno laboratories, we could credit it to the initiatives also and its revitalization to Dr. Erlin Darillo. Okay, so we have established several with Angels Paradise. Unfortunately, this particular private company uh, has already stopped operations and engaged in another business. We also established a partnership with several state universities. One of them is the URS Tanay. It's still operating. Another one is Southern Luzon State University. We revived also the Cavite State University and some of the other PCA laboratories here in the region. Okay, and also we have initiated the regional forum, the first regional forum in 2009. So just to look at the perspective what is happening there, then in the industry. So we come up with some demand gap analysis based on the output of our workshop in 2009. We determined that there is a demand of 4 million kilogram meat per year by the industry. This is based on the presentation of Dr. Batalon from Picard in his presentation in the November 26, 2009 forum. And that will entail a supply of 8.42 million Makapuno nuts. And it's about 1.67 projected production uh, of Makapuno seedlings as seeds. So we have to produce around 6.75 million nuts as the gap, no? Because the rest have been supplied already, and that will require us a supply of 112,500 ECM seedlings. That was in 2009. That's our original um, targeting that has been done in 2009. So what happened then is that we have made some initiatives on the establishment of database and upgrading our ECM lab. So we have 8 existing ECM lab that has been improved since then. New equipments from PCRDF was installed for both for processing and for production of seedlings. PCA Zamboanga also has upgraded their equipment and Davao research centers. And there are 27 ECM laboratory personnel that were recruited and trained to be part of the program, the vitalization program. And PCA established what they call the databases of all those ECM farms, growers, and processors. So that's mostly where we are getting our information today. There are 33 total researchers on ECM and production were completed, and 7 are currently ongoing their studies. And we have produced 17 IEC, or Information, Education, Communication Materials, that was developed on advocacy for Makapuno and ECM farming. Okay, then we have also had collaborated with DA, PCA, PCRDF, and NRCC, and our NCRC for the IPM strategies to control Brontispa, the coconut scale insect, and other pest control. And then we have 3 existing ECM laboratories and nurseries that were already, shall we say, certified or accredited, one in PCRDF, one in PCA CRC Zamboanga, and one in Davao Research Station. So we also have coconut-based farming technologies implemented by DA and PCA demo farms, especially intercropping with plantation crops like coffee, cacao, and other cash crops. Okay, so and we also have ECM production protocols that have been performed, improved, and tested. So right now, the report from PCA and our partners says that we have produced around 68,681 embryo cultured Makapuno seedlings. And out of that, it has been the number planted was already 36,878 seedlings, seedlings planted in those fields, around 1,267 hectares. And there were already 35,984, shall we say, trees that are productive, with a casualty of 1,056 due to the previous typhoons that hit our country in the last 5 years. Okay, so the losses due to Brontispa were reduced because of our program and the very big participation of PCA. The fallback mechanism and monitoring system for ACM laboratories and farms established and strengthened, and the development of the one that has been launched earlier, the cabinet or the embryo incubator, is part of our desire to reduce the gestation period to produce from 13 months, 11 to 13 months. Maybe we could reduce it to around 8 to 10 months so that we could reduce the cost of. Right now, the cost of seedling in the Philippines ranges from
Depends on the station where you could get it. Sometimes you could get it at 400 to 500, but the maximum that we recommend is around 600 pesos per seedlings. That is plantable already at the stage ready for planting. Right now, we have already recruited 27 ECM lab personnel, mostly from PCA and from SUCs, state colleges and universities, and also DA. DA has a lot of supply activities and accomplishment in the establishment of our Makapuno Island in Alaban. So the way forward in the Philippines, shall we say, just like Indonesia has done, I would say, should be an initiation to be done by the government. In our opinion, most of the planted seedlings, shall we say, maybe around 35 to 40% of those planted are those enthusiasts, meaning they plant it in their backyard, they make it as a collection. Some of the retirees plant it in their retirement homes, but due to the needs, so that we could answer to the problems of logistics, we come up with the same strategy that was developed already by our neighboring Asian countries like Thailand and Indonesia. That is to develop what we call a Makapuno Island concept. No, so we developed the Alabat Island, and further on we have to sustain that particular operation. What the concept is that the Makapuno that is being established there should reach what we call a good 99 to 100% production of nuts that are makapuno. So to minimize cross-pollination. And yet, we make it a point that it will not move from that island without being transformed into a high value crop. So together with the establishment of the plantation is the desire with PCA and the local governments of the Alabat Island municipalities, the 3 municipalities, to establish a central processing, both for food and non-food. So it will develop what we call an island economy concept with coconut-based farming, Makapuno-based farming as its base production, and some of the intercrops also being processed in the food processing center. Okay, so the partners with that partnership also should be encouraged with the state universities and colleges and AFPY. State universities and colleges, a lot of areas that can be planted all over the Philippines. We could coordinate with all those potential lands owned by the state universities and come up with plantation area in their location so that they have a good source of mother plants. There we could also develop the breeding on even the selection and the characterization of the future breeding program to be coordinated with, of course, our very own Ramon Rivera, who is the only breeder, coconut breeder, and we are hopeful he didn't move out of the Philippines and take up another job in another country to do breeding for their coconut and remains here in the Philippines. Thank you very much, Sir Ramon Rivera, and we hope the things that being done in Indonesia, where they are very active in the production of their own version of Makapuno, be also activated. Although you already established what we call a program for the hybridization, and you already have come up with several lines that we are now planting, but maybe we could improve more on the type of materials that we produce, because right now we have identified what is the best source of galactumanan, what type of Makapuno, and where in the Makapuno parts can we get the best source of galactumanan. Maybe we could breed along that line, because there's a variation of highly meated Makapuno, slightly meated, and highly liquid Makapuno. And from there on, we could breed what is the intention, whether it's for ice cream or for pharmaceutical products. Okay, the plantation type should be done in coordination with AFP also, because a lot of field or camps has been is open for development for from the Armed Forces of the Philippines, especially from the Philippine Army. Okay, private partnership with processing firm is now being initiated and being campaigned here in the Philippines. Buenas is one of the major exporter of Makapuno, sweetened Makapuno. And right now here, Kayumangi Food Products, who will, I hope it will be, you will be listening tomorrow, one of our speaker, has established its own plantation of Makapuno. So we encourage those big processing firms to partner with farmers, group of farmers, or even state universities who have who will plant this planting material, who will plant this ECM planting material, to have a buyback mechanism or contract, so that those processing firms will have a continuous supply of their products. More so, when the time that comes that the permission to import products are already established, there will be already a good logistical system wherein we could find a good source of Makapuno. So next, Mindanao-based plantation is still a good option for us. There's a lot of area in Mindanao, and I think there's already a good a handful of interested firms, according to Mr. Ramon Rivera, who are interested to plant there. And I would like to coordinate this with my regional directors and regional partners in the DOST to collaborate with those interested food firms that are producing also food products in Mindanao. We also would like to have a ECM farms and nurseries certified to the establishment of a certifying team led by BPI, so that materials coming from credible sources can be established, so that those unscrupulous online seller will we can monitor those, and then there will be no preparages of unwanted seedlings. No. So ECM growers also, not suppliers and process network, that could establish a what we call a system of networking, so that we could connect raw materials to processing and even marketing as one operating network system. And then we could also campaign, and that's why we have launched here earlier this morning the Kabsu Makapuno R&D Center, so that I think funding from our partners from Department of Agriculture, especially for Philippine Coconut Authority, the DOST, and even the funding from the private company can pour in and be collaborated, whether it's for production of planting material, production management research, innovation, product development, and improvement and testing. So what we have to do now is also to campaign for a massive promotion regarding Makapuno planting, improve our marketing and logistics support, and maybe in a way, let's have a subsidy to small Makapuno farmers, provide them some incentives. Like for example, what we have done with the Filipino Canadian investors, the Chamber of Commerce. We invited them to invest in Alabat. They poured out from their own sources. They are now partnering with our local partners, our farmers, so that they both earn their investment while they are living abroad, and yet they are helping our local farmers. That's another initiative that we could also pursue. So in terms of processing, we have already established what we call 18 secondary food products. And then we are now looking at the development of Makapuno syrups and cubes. These are some of the intermediary products that we are looking into. We already have 10 secondary non-food products that were developed. Or the development, we are looking at the dietary fiber and even the virgin Makapuno oil, maybe, because there is now a good, I don't want to preempt, but our secretary, together with our partners from PCA, will be diverging the good benefit of taking VCO to combat pandemic or the COVID virus. So maybe a little bit we could do some research on what is the potential of BCO coming from Makapuno. Okay, so the current initiative establishment of PNS for the developed secondary products should also be pursued. Appropriate processing equipment should be identified. The process and the product standardization, improvement, and should be adopted. The product standards and improvement on product innovation, and the continuous Makapuno processing facilities to be upgraded. Right now, there is already some attempt to do some Makapuno powder, no, and there is already a licensing agreement that could be established through DA. The galactomannan has already have a patent for from PCA. The processing of galactomannan we already have a patent pending then. What we could do now is upgrade the and then level up those processing facilities so that the supply of both the powder and the galactomannan can be sustained. Okay, so we will have to look at some other initiatives like trade fairs and advocacy information materials for our Makapuno products. So the establishment for another way forward is the establishment of PNS for developed secondary products. Okay, so our partner from Kabsu will still have a long way, a long list that have to be established. So this is a challenge again for the Kabsu and our partners to note. No? So the technology transfer to MSMEs should be upgraded. Definitely, we have to do a lot of collaboration with the micro, small, and medium enterprises once those develop new products have been established, because they will be the one who will do the production of those developed products. Okay, so other databases, the databases for the Makapuno processing and even the production technology should be established as a portal for for all the stakeholders of the Makapuno industry. So right now, the current status supply and demand gap from 2000 versus 2020. This is now the gap. If you will look at it, we have a current gap of I think 485 hectares that is still remaining to be planted. Okay, that is 115 pound at 115 pounds per hectare. We need around 55,000 ECM planting material, so that our gap will only be around 1.34 million kilogram meat. That's only for the food processing. So that will have to be upgraded still and then reviewed if the product development for the non-food items will be successful. Okay, so I think that's all, and I thank everyone for listening, and thank you very much.
Thank you so much po, Dr. Madrigal, for that very informative lecture or presentation about the status of Makapuno industry in the Philippines. So while our participants are typing in their questions on chat or Q&A portion here and on Facebook, so let's have a quick recap of what Dr. Madrigal presented to us. So he mentioned about and discussed about the timeline of the milestones and other important events in the development of Makapuno industry in the country. He also mentioned about the current initiatives and all the partnerships going on with organizations, state universities and colleges, the industry and the communities involved, and of course the way forward or where do we go from here to further develop our industry in Makapuno and the food and non-food products we are expecting to be developed and available soon in the market, and of course the supply demand gap for Makapuno meat and nuts, which we can really study well so we would know where we can contribute as stakeholders of the Makapuno industry. So once again, thank you po, Dr. Madrigal, for that presentation. We have one question over here since your presentation really show how hardworking you are and the team is for this endeavor. So the question, sir, is considering the many things or initiatives needed to develop Makapuno industry, what should be the top three priorities that should be pursued? So there's a lot that we need to really work on, but what do you think is the top three priority for our country?
Well, one is the supply of planting materials, definitely. The supply of planting materials is still one thing. As you see, that there's still a big gap that we have to address. And that can be addressed by making use of innovation, science and technology in terms of reviewing the production of the ECM technology, laboratory technology, to produce at the fastest rate at the lowest cost. That's what we should do. The second one is to establish the plantation requirement and the interested partners here. As I've said, the way to go is plantation, big plantation. Um, there are a lot of buyers of Makapuno only for just for a hobby, so that they could have their own Makapuno in their backyard. Mostly those are the ones that are their hobbyists. But what we would like to do is to address in the long run the requirement of the industry. So we have to establish an island economy or big plantation project with state universities, with the AFP, with big plantation in Mindanao, because the area here in Luzon, except for Quezon, is already what we call preoccupied with other activities in the commercial and even economic activities. But for Quezon, we could establish, there's a lot of islands in the Philippines, 7,100 islands. If we look at the concept of that's being done by Indonesia, let's look at it and then establish partnership with landowners or even developers to do the our island concepts. The last one is to pursue what we call product development and breeding program that will support the full industry. Breeding, as hope Dr. Mr. Rivera will stay, still stay as our best breeder here in the Philippines and collaborate with our partners from Indonesia and like have a good exchange of materials with Vietnam. Vietnam is very good in commercialization. Who knows, one of Vietnam might play a very big role later on, 5 to 10 years from now, and even Indonesia, if they found out another use of their Kopkam, their variety of Makapuno there. So that's the way that we could look into breeding and the sustained product development. So as we say, there's still a good product waiting for us for Galactumanan and the Makapuno. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Very well said. So you mentioned which we need to take note of so that we would know where we really need to work more for our RDE and our other activities. So you mentioned about supply of planting materials, and I like what you said, sir. That's a tip for us: fastest rate, lowest cost, and also about the island economy as we contribute to the establishment of plantations. And lastly, the product development and breeding program. And as we see it, that's very relevant to a comment here, a message from Mr. Apollo Pakamalan of, let me see, the Provincial Agri of Misamis. Okay, so sabi po dito ni Sir, which we really appreciate, Sir. Sabi po ni Sir Apollo, we would like to offer our Provincial Agri Complex of Misamis Oriental Region 10 for the Makapuno Processing Center and Embryo Culture. So part of the provincial agriculture support to jumpstart the Makapuno industry in northern Mindanao. Wow! Thank you so
Wow.
much, sir.
Thank
That's a
you. Thank
very,
you.
thank you, sir. That's a very good news.
That's very positive. Thank you. Thank you.
Yes, sir. And that really is the essence of our summit to meet everybody and collaborate with one another and have good news like this. So thank you for that. Let me check if there are other questions for Dr. Alex. So as I see it, do we have another one? Okay. We also have some question over here about the spelling. This is interesting because one question from Miss Marichu Benavides is about the origin of Makapuno, the name itself. and which was answered by Miss Arlinda Rillo. So thank you po for that, ma'am. And I think this gives us an idea of not only working on the hard sciences part of Makapuno, but also our social scientists or maybe our historians or linguists could also take part by contributing to understanding better the other side of the industry. No, because this definitely will help in commercialization, our own brand, okay, because of our own culture and of our own language. So let me see. Do we have questions from Facebook? Maybe I need help from the secretary to figure out if there are any other questions. Do we have? Is this one posted a question?
Maybe from others, from the other speakers, they might fish out other questions that we have missed.
Yeah, if our speakers are still here and really appreciate their presence up
I
until
really
this point.
appreciate our international speaker, Mr. Ronald and Dr. Henke. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you so much po, and we do appreciate that you stay with us. You started being with us since morning and now you're still here. So thank you for that. If there's any other question, I would love to read it from the group chat of the secretariat so that it will be easier to see them. But I guess that's a very wonderful discussion already. So anyway, we can always contact you, ST Calabarzon, for other matters that we need to talk to in terms of Makapuno industry. So at this point, we would love to proceed with the awarding of the plaque of recognition for our plenary speaker, Dr. Madrigal. So let me read the citation. Republic of the Philippines, Department of Science and Technology, Calabarzon, and Cavite State University award this plaque of appreciation to Dr. Alexander Madrigal, Regional Director of the UST Calabarzon in the Philippines, in grateful recognition of his invaluable contribution as plenary speaker during the second National Makapuno Summit with the theme Empowering the Stakeholders of the Philippine Makapuno Industry amidst the pandemic, given this 26th day of November 2020 via Zoom meeting and Facebook Live. Signed, our dear officials from the UST and Cavite State University. So once again, a round of applause to Dr. Alexander Madrigal for that very informative presentation. At this point, as much as we want to give you the plenary talk for the one that we missed a while ago about the national perspective on the status initiatives for Makapuno industry in Papua New Guinea by Mr. Alfred Kembu, I think we are having a problem with internet connection, Sir Kembu's internet connection in Papua New Guinea. So we are sorry to announce that we might not be able to bring him in today, but we are still working on connecting to him and contacting him with the hope that we'll be able to do that plenary talk tomorrow. So don't forget to really return tomorrow for our day two. And before we officially end our day one, let us just have a preview of what's going to happen tomorrow for our second day. So tomorrow we have a lot in store. We have another 5 plenary talks, and they're very, very interesting. So we have current status of Kabuwig and ECM in the Philippines to be presented by Ms. Maria Buena Ubaldo from the Philippine Coconut Center, Albay Research Center. We're going to have harnessing the potentials of Makapuno plantations in relation to Masaganang Ani, Masaganang Kita program by Mr. Ramon Rivera from the Philippine Coconut Authority in Calabarzon. That's going to be our 7th plenary session tomorrow. And of course, will be inspired with a lot of success stories tomorrow. We have the testimonial and success story for production to be delivered by Mr. Policarpio Abari, a Makapuno entrepreneur from Pagbilao, Quezon. We also have our speaker from Nanyang Polytechnic in Singapore, Dr. Joel Lee, the Director of School of Chemical Life Sciences in Nanyang Polytechnic, Singapore, for the topic Consumer Products from Makapuno Opportunities for Collaboration. So don't miss that one. And of course, another testimony and success story from a Makapuno farmer. So to give us a success story for production, we have Mr. Jun Ayensa for our 10th plenary session. And again, we would love to bring you our missed session for today from Mr. Kembu from Papua New Guinea. So we hope to bring that in tomorrow, our sixth one. And also, we will be witnessing the awarding of the R&D poster competition presentation, the top three tomorrow, which I think some of us participated, and we would also know who's our top choice. And of course, before we end, we'll be receiving and hearing the synthesis for this whole activity, and again the next steps of what's going to happen afterwards. So for those who are asking for copies of presentation, we may not be able to provide the whole presentation per se, but we will definitely give you the copy of the proceedings for the whole summit, wherein you will see the highlights and the information that were presented by our speakers. So we will be summarizing them and putting them all together for your perusal next time that we meet after this summit. And also again on our chat box is our day one evaluation link. So please click them now, save them on your computer, and you may answer them after our closing today. And we hope you really learned a lot. If you want to post on Facebook, you can use hashtag second Makapuno Summit or National Makapuno Summit. Tag us, the OST Calabarzon and Cavite State University, and we would love to see you again tomorrow. So that's a very, very productive day for all of us. We had inspirational messages, we had awardees, we had plenary talks about the status of Makapuno industry around the world, and more will be shared tomorrow for our second day. So again, don't miss that, and make sure you will also again answer our evaluation form so you get to receive your certificates. So for today, we'll be ending with this one. Also, our Facebook viewers, please be advised that you will also be um, receiving the evaluation link. Okay, so it's already sent here on Zoom. So the secretariat will be, I think, posting it on Facebook. So there you go. The UST Calabarzon already posted it on Facebook. So just click the link and you'll be able to answer the evaluation for today. And there's going to be another one tomorrow. So don't miss that one up. And I guess it's a very worthwhile event. Thank you for spending your day with us. You will be receiving your certificate real time. That's how fast we can be this virtual summit. So thank you once again, everybody, our organizers, our administrators, guest speakers, and participants. And again, if you have questions, you may write them down tonight and ask them tomorrow. So we'll have a fruitful discussion again tomorrow. So I guess that's all for today. This is Lady Eileen, your moderator for day one, saying that Makapuno is not only an industry, but definitely a gift of life to every family, both here and abroad. So thank you for today. Enjoy the rest of your day and see you again tomorrow.